We're living in tense, uncertain times. We have war, poverty, clashes of culture in our own country. Just some of the issues each and every one of us face every single morning when we wake up. But how can we continue to thrive in the midst of it? Joining me now with a game plan is Jesse Bradley. He's the pastor of Grace Community Church and former professional soccer player. Jesse is also the author of the new book, The Power of Second Thought: How to Live with Indestructible Hope. Boy, do we need it. Pastor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Gina. We do need hope, and hope is a confident and joyful trust in someone or something, and it's the God of all hope that we need to fulfill our souls. Now, when you think about hope, we can cultivate hope. There's habits like giving thanks to God, a gritty gratitude, even when you don't feel like it, because the inside story, that's where we make the important choices. The outside story, we can't control everything. But when you pray, you can give your anxiety to God, and with thanksgiving, and then also with your requests, God will carry your burdens. And God wants to renew our minds. We have thousands of first thoughts every day. We can recognize what we're thinking about, and then we can reject what's not coming from God, what's not good. And when it's not true, if it's selfish, if it's mean, if there's resentment, we reject it. We replace it with an intentional second thought. And I was a professional goalkeeper, keeping the ball out of the back of the net. And now when I think about the goalkeeper mode, it's in between my ears. It's the battle of my mind. And every single day, we get to make the choices. We can say, not in my house, with the negative thoughts that we see around us. And instead, that renewing of the mind, when it's healthy between your ears, it's going to overflow into every part of your life.
But it's hard. This is hard work to do. I'm not going to lie, because I work on this incessantly. You know, I have to, like all of the hosts on this show, like all of the staff on this show, we have to delve into the bad news all day, every single day. It's our life, right? It's our work. And when you do that, it's hard. My Bible study this morning said something. I'm going to see if I can quote it. It said, stop grasping and stop trying to control. Instead, release it to God and receive the blessing. Those are practical points. What practical points can you give us to get from that desperate hopelessness, that fearfulness, right? Even if it's not sinful, I mean, fear is sinful, I guess, but even if it's not about selfishness or some of the things you mentioned, it's just a fear, right? A fear that we won't be able to provide for our family, a fear that we have a medical problem, a fear that one of our children is going the wrong direction, a fear that our country is being lost. Those are big, significant, real fears. What are the practical steps, if you will, Pastor, to get from point A to point B on that?
That's right. There's a promise in the Bible: draw near to God and he will draw near to you. And hope is relational. We need to draw near to God. And as we seek God, we know that God doesn't turn away anyone who sincerely goes after him. And Jesus is full of grace and truth. So we never want to be in denial. We also don't want to make our problems bigger than they are. But instead, we realize the reality, and Jesus is greater than the challenges we face. So if you focus on your problems all day, they're going to grow. But if you focus on the Lord, your faith will grow. And I didn't know Jesus until I went to Dartmouth College and read the Bible for the first time. And grace is a key word, because God's love, it overcomes fear. Perfect love drives out fear. And to be honest, we need to receive. It's not a striving, it's a receiving. Jesus said, abide with me and you will bear much fruit. That's a promise. So receive God's grace. My professional soccer career ended. I was fighting for my life for a year. It took 10 years to fully recover. And I didn't find hope until I lost it. So remember, God will meet you in the valley. The fruit doesn't always grow in the mountaintops. It grows in the valleys. And our God is faithful at all times. So Jesus is the same yesterday, today, forever. And don't forget the end of the story. Jesus is going to return. We're going to live in glory with him. The story couldn't end any better. So let that encourage you today. These trials will pass, but be faithful and be courageous in times like this. God's going to help us to stand in the fierce battle. In Ephesians chapter 6, walks us through how to do that. You can study that chapter. Cultivate that habit of staying in the Word, not just to gain knowledge, but to be close to God, because it's not rules and religion, it's a relationship with Jesus.
Jesse Bradley, the book is called The Power of Second Thought: How to Live with Indestructible Hope. Thank you so much for being with us.